prepare for a hybrid interview? Welcome back, everyone, to another week of Questions with Dean and Pete. This week, we're going to cover a really important question when it comes to interview process, and that is, how do you prepare for a hybrid interview? We know live, we know virtual, but what are your recommendations for hybrid interviews?
Hybrids are a whole new animal. And I think the starting point for me is just when we're going into a prep for something like that, it's not like a step back toward what it used to be. It's sort of a strange step forward and back into something new. It's going into another direction. So the first starting point is you got to think it through from scratch. And there's a lot more learning and dialogue that has to happen to figure out how to approach it.
Yeah, and we've assisted in enough of these now to recognize it's not a single animal. There's not just one kind of virtual interview. There are lots of kinds. There are lots of different variables. The consistent thing seems to be there is a physical presence to deal with. You are sharing a room with some decision makers. And there's a video element, either connecting you to other of your own team members or other selection committee members, or both.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into this idea of preparation. Oftentimes, there will be people who feel, oh, I don't need to prepare, or we're starting to get back to the way it used to be, so I can just show up. What are the challenges of just making an assumption that you can just show up for these hybrid events? And why is it important to specifically strategize around the ins and outs of a hybrid?
Well, let's stay in the pandemic when you ask that question for a moment, because one of the first things is you got to find out what the laws are. So depending where you are and what state you're in, you'll find different things. So we were in a team in one state that was interviewing in another state. And when we got closer to the interview, we discovered that our plans weren't going to work. So there might be regulations with masks or regulations with how many people can be in a room. And so dialoguing with the client, finding out what's going on around the circumstance. And this is going to be changing across, between 2000, which changed a lot, into 2000 or 2020 to 2021. It's just going to keep shifting and changing. So you're having to be up to speed on a lot of circumstantial scenarios that more than you would normally.